Yeah, speaking of that, bro. I got the boys on. I'll introduce you first. That'd be very polite of me. Got the Kiwi boys from the Storm here. Jahrome Hughes, Brandon Smith, the Cheese. What's happening, boys?
Nah, not a lot,
Very
mate.
good,
It's good
mate.
to be back. It's good to be here.
Yeah, and you in particular, Cheese, bro. How you hanging in? Like we were chatting a little bit offline there. How you hanging in there, bro? Like two weeks.
Mate, like I said, I'm going pretty mad. You know, I thought it'd be all good. I started off well. The first week was a breeze, and then, there's only so much PlayStation you can play, and there's only so many interviews you can do to pass the time. But I found myself singing in the mirror the other day, so I'm well and truly lost the plot.
Yeah, I can imagine. We've been going back and forth on a few tips today too. You gave us some mail. I hope you're not losing too much money.
Yeah.
Look, I've got a little segment called Scope Specials, and it hasn't been going too well. So I was actually looking for a bit of mail. Like, if you went all right, I was gonna maybe toss your name up.
Nah, bro, don't toss his name up, my bro. Do not toss his name up.
Did I not just give you a $5
I didn't miss. Yeah, but I got on the one that lost me. Fuck.
Did that one just get up?
Yeah,
Yeah.
$5, mate.
Oh, bro, I was setting up as well. Fuck. Spilling. Oh, well, always the case. That's just another Scope Special story. I'm just always down on my luck, boys. You'll know that, Jahrome. You're part of the card gang. You know I didn't fucking probably get the best break, and I didn't pick the best teams, but it's good fun, eh?
Yeah, bro, it's mad. Especially like in this lockdown period where something to do, bro. Like I've been having heaps of fun, eh? Like although I haven't been playing footy.
Yeah, well, I've been like researching it and wanted to jump in hard, but the last 6 weeks, mate, I've been in lockdown. So like, I wanted to get cards sent to New Zealand, but they weren't doing it. And I want to get cards sent to this hotel, but they won't be able to bring it up. So it's like I just can't even be a part of this like cool thing that's going on at the moment.
Yeah,
so.
well, we've got to get you in. You just seen the boss. The boss was in here before. He's just outside with Renault. Like, we were supposed to break today, as you know. We had some cards coming in and it hasn't come through. So we were going to give you a little bit of entertainment for the day, eh, Cheese?
Yeah, I know. I'm looking for something, anything, someone.
Hey, the feeling you get when you're like opening a pack that you're getting cards, bro. It's a pretty mad feel. It's sort of like punting, but
yeah,
I don't know. It's a pretty cool feeling. You got to get into it. Cheese will love it, I reckon.
Bro, that's how go on, Cheese.
I like how like all the boys get around it. I like how all the boys get around it, and you got like pretty much a big Zoom going on where you're doing this break, and you know it's just all banter. Like you seen that video of Ice when he's just going nuts at the TV screen. Who's getting the RJ Barrett? It's like
yeah,
cool,
Ice picked the Bulls. It was a good laugh, eh, Jahrome?
Yeah. I'm still throwing little jabs at him here and there about his selection. He's filthy, but
yeah, it's like when Ice hit me up, he goes,
"What's good for the Bulls? What do you
What's
want
good
for the Bulls? Kobe White."
Yeah, he was going for Kobe White, and what he was banking on as well was the back of the Jordan documentary. So the Jordan cards just come out. He gets Dennis Rodman, like any of the vintage Dennis Rodman, Scottie Pippen, all those cards as well.
yeah.
So he was sort of banking. I think he just got caught up in the documentary, to be fair. And
We got caught up in the vibe too much, I reckon.
Yeah, and then like, especially a team like the Knicks fell to brother Norm's all the way down to 12, and he ended up pulling that fucking RJ Barrett and Ja Morant card.
He won from today.
Bro, he killed it. I think I was speaking to Ice about it. We all paid $375 to get in. Was that it, Jahrome? The original fee, and then I think Normie would have walked away with about $1,000 worth of cards. So that's what Ice was like, bro. He goes, think about this: basketball, another form of gambling, and getting involved with the boys and having a few beers and breaking the cards. Fuck, how good's that? Like, that's me too.
Yeah, exactly. I'm missing out.
Yeah, so we were, it's been good to be in that. We'll have to speak to Ice about getting in on it. But with regards to the footy side, boys, I've seen you've been training pretty hard with one-on-one with pretty much with Sandor, the majority, Jahrome, trying to keep fit. Looking forward to hopefully getting back to training in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. Well, just with the rules and that, you sort of only allowed one other person to train with. So Sandor sort of teed it up that we would sort of work together. And for myself, like he's probably the perfect dude that should be working with. Like you know what he's like. He's
a gun, eh? Like it's like almost
smart.
training with a trainer, eh? Like you're almost training with your own, like because he does personal training.
Yeah.
But like the quality of the sessions that you'd be getting would be unreal, wouldn't they?
Yeah, mate. He's like he said he's pretty much a trainer. Like, he's, all the stuff that he comes up with is different. But, yeah. Where's the cheese gone?
Yeah, I don't know. The cheese is just gone. Hopefully he comes back, pops back in, but we'll keep going as we'll start talking about I like, that message I sent you today. I was like, fuck, are we going to be sweet to do this? Because there was reports that Bellyache's been filthy on the boys doing too much social media during this break.
Yeah.
Is that a giggle or what's the go with that? Was there because he's one person I don't want to piss off.
Yeah, when you sent it through, I was sort of like, what's he talking about? And then I've seen it all over social media. Like, all my mates were texting me saying, "Oh, is that you? What TikToks and that have you been doing?" And I was just like,
"Yeah,
oh, mate, he doesn't like social media from the start." And then
I can imagine.
A few stories come out, and then he just really, he just really started. He didn't blow up like that, but he did tell us, like, you can't be affording to do that stuff in this time. So
yeah,
I don't know if I'm not too sure if it's a rule yet that we're not allowed on social media, but he definitely told us to be a bit smarter with that.
Yeah, and I imagine, like, obviously once you get back to footy, because the boys have been online so much during these times when you're in isolation, like when it's back to footy, it's back to footy, you fucking switch on like you boys always do. So
yeah,
I'm thinking it's more to do with that, and like I said, I don't want to be one of those guys to fucking piss Belly. I'm still scared. I had a conversation about potentially going to Melbourne at one point with Bellyache, and it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah. So, mate, I remember when he first tried to get me down, he like rang me. I seen it, and I just shit myself like straight away. I was like, I'm not answering this. Like, I was driving at the time. I was like, nah, I can't talk to this guy while I'm driving. It's crazy. He just gives you that feeling, but he's actually the best bloke to talk to. Like,
yeah. So for the boys that don't know, for people back at home, Cheese has dropped out. He'll come back in eventually. So we'll just start speaking to Drame, because I was going to go back and forth with you boys in a bit of your timeline. You're talking about Bellyache having that first conversation. Is that when you're at the Titans, bro? Like, take us back to those Titans days. Were you
I was at the Cowboys.
Oh, you went to the Cowboys as well?
Yeah, so I had a quick, like, a year stint at the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So after I left Gold Coast, I went up to North Queensland and played for the Blackhawks team up there for a year. And
North's team? Is it North's Blackhawks?
Nah, Townsville Blackhawks.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, that's North's Devils, isn't it?
Yeah, Devils, yeah. So I went up there and played a year there, and then went to Cowboys for a year, and then that year after, come down to Melbourne, 2017.
Yeah, so what's, like you said, what's that conversation like? When I seen some stuff on the Cheese today too. We'll chat to him a little bit when he comes back on.
Yeah.
What were those conversations like? Were you nervous? Like I said, I was.
Oh, mate, I was. Like I said, I couldn't answer it straight away. I sort of seen his name pop up because my manager told me to put his number in my phone, and then seen his name pop up. And just seeing his name, I was just I was like, just froze. I was like, I pulled over in my car, and then like sat there for a bit, and I was like, then I was like, yo, got the courage to ring him, and then just rang him, and like, it's weird because you think he's just going to be a real tense dude, but once you start talking to him, he's just cruisy as. Like, he's so easy to talk to.
He was pretty relaxed. I remember when I spoke to him, he was pretty relaxed. But I suppose here he is. He's back. He's coming back in. I'll admit him in.
Yeah.
I suppose when you have that conversation with him, and he's just like he's just another human being. I suppose him and Wayne Bennett have sort of got that presence about him compared to like any other coaches.
Yeah.
I'd imagine like maybe Ricky's a bit like that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're just talking about Cheese. We're just talking about how I think you did something with that roasty, NRL roast, and you're talking about your first encounter with Bellyache. That was a bit of a giggle, that story, for people that haven't heard it.
Oh, which one was that?
Was it you said I think you had the meeting about I think you'd been on the piss all weekend.
Oh no, that was I was just getting interviewed by Christian Walsh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they just took it from there, but it's a pretty crack up story. Like, I was I just signed with the Storm, and the Melbourne played Cowboys. Melbourne played Cowboys in Townsville. So after my game, I'd been on the Bears all night, and I was a bit of a larrikin back then, so I kicked on for a while. And
you're not a larrikin anymore?
I had a message from Belzer saying, "I would love to catch up with you." and have breakfast. And I was like, oh shit.
Wow.
So I pulled myself together and I turned up to this meeting, and it was Craig Bellamy and Frank Benisi, who's our general manager right now.
Yeah.
And, I don't know. They didn't pick it up, so I knew I could get away with a bit at this club if they couldn't find out. They couldn't figure out how pissed I was then. Then there was no way they were going to find out just a little. So yeah, it was a pretty funny story, and I took my mum with me, and she was pretty angry at me, and she made sure I kept in line though, so it was all right.
Yeah, how good is that? I remember hearing a story about Finchy when Finchy had his first meeting with Bellamy, and I think there was something like around the club where Finchy had his own rules. Like he sort of knew what Bellyache sort of knew what he was getting when he was getting Finchy, and he was six again to get on the piss. But if anyone else was caught out with him, they got in trouble or whatever.
Yeah, well, I've heard a lot of stories about Finchy, and I think. Like if you doesn't matter if you have 1,000 beers, as long as you rock up to training and train your guts out, it doesn't matter. And I heard that Finchy's one of those under-20s coaches at the time, and he was telling me stories about Finch, saying how just of a mongrel he was on the training paddock, and how he just always tried to beat everyone. Even if he smoked 30 darts just before the training session.
30 darts is unders too, by the way. I was lucky enough to just be in the lower grades at Parramatta when he was there, and fuck, it cracked me up. He used to leave a pair of training gear on Friday afternoon when he would leave. So he'd put he put the backup pack in the locker room. So he had kit going on Monday morning, and sometimes he would stroll straight out of a taxi.
Straight in.
Coming to training, but like you said, bro, ripped in and beat everyone. So no one could say anything, man. So yeah, maybe you're the Kiwi version of Finchy down there, Albert.
Nah.
That's high praise too, by the way. A lot of us look up to Finchy.
That's a wrap.
That's a massive wrap. We're just talking about Rome's early days, Cheese. What about he was just saying, I didn't realise he spent time at the Cowboys as well. I thought he was picked up from the Titans, but you spent some time at the Cowboys in the 20s. You had not a pretty decent team. AKP was there as well. Any of the other boys gone and kicked on?
Yeah, well, we choked massively in 2015. My first year in 20s, we should have won for sure. Like we had my starting pack, so I was the hooker. I had Viliami Kickow and Braden Ueli as my two front rowers. And then I had Cohen Hess was my second rower. And
wow.
and we had a guy, Andrew Niemola, who's Andrew Ussie Hun, who plays for Blackhawk. So we had a really good side, and Kickow got injured at the semi-final, and from there we played Manly against Tom Trebojevic, and he scored like 3 tries, and they beat us by 1. Yeah, and Tommy Trebojevic just ran amok on us, and we just kicked out the game and wins and consecutively, it was 13 wins straight or something. So we massively choked, but yeah, we had such a good team. We had KP as well, so.
Yeah, I've seen that, and don't worry about that. Tommy's still doing that to first graders at the moment, so don't take that to heart too much.
Yeah, for me, seeing him kick on so well, it's kind of a sigh of relief.
And who I was with today, Chico told me he's got a little story for me. He said, when you speak to the Cheese, ask him about trying Michael Morgan's jersey on and taking a little selfie.
Oh, I don't know what he's talking about.
he reckons you come home or something and you had Mick Morgan's jersey on and taking a selfie when you're a young buck.
Mate, Chico, he talks a lot of shit, mate.
Oh, has he got me?
Nah.
I can see Brandon doing that.
It may have happened. It sounds like something I do, but I'm passionate about the game, mate.
I love that, brother. I love that.
I said Morgo fan. He's a big Morgo fan.
Yeah, I said that to Chico as well, and I remember there's a story that come out about Chico when Chico played his first game, and straight after the game, instead of shaking hands, he went and asked Darren Lockyer for his autograph. But how good's that? But that's it's sort of like a funny little story. But that's when you get to the opportunity, like you are now, And you look back on those times, geez, it's like it's pretty rewarding, eh?
Mate,
Yeah.
I still do it now. Like, I see some of the players I play against. I used to watch them when I was growing up, and if I had more balls, I probably would ask for their autograph or something. But yeah, like it's a pretty cool feeling, man.
The balls. What'd you say about the balls, Cheese?
Got no balls.
Hey, bro.
Rolling on to the footy stuff, boys, where I met you this year, I wanted to focus on two things in particular with you two. Sort of following probably arguably two of the best at their position. We'll get into that at some point. And also, when I seen you up at Gold Coast and I spent a couple of days with you for the New Zealand Māoris Indigenous game, I couldn't help but notice all the Melbourne Storm influence that was in the Māori team, and I started thinking about back to the Kiwi days. So let's start off with that game in particular. For you boys, obviously, big game for both of yous. Jerome, you kick it off. You started the game well, but it was an intense game, eh?
Yeah, mate. It was crazy. It's sort of like that was the second time I played in it.
Yeah.
Being back on the Gold Coast was a big plus, I reckon. Just the crowd and the atmosphere was awesome. But I think people might see it as an exhibition match, but both teams really actually want to win that game. Like, it's so much passion in that game where we want to win the game. So we prepared as best as we can, and I bet they did as well. And we just we were lucky to win, but it was because of the cheese, obviously. But it's a game that you want to win, and it's a game you want to be a part of, especially for, coming from me, mate. I love being a part of that game. Yeah,
just watching it, it looked like it was almost like a finals vibe about it. That's how hard you were going. And you touched on that you played in it last year. Was there a different mentality for you that you sort of went going into this game compared to last year? Because I remember, I'm good mates with Troy Savage, who spent the whole week in camp with you, and I felt like there was a bit of a theme that within the boys that it sort of meant more to the Indigenous boys, whereas and you sort of took that to heart, and we're getting a little bit cut about that. Was that, without putting words into your mouth, is that a bit of motivation to go even harder this year for you?
Yeah, for me, after we lost that game, it was it was gut wrenching. Like, it was sort of like losing a final, So coming into this year, it was sort of more of a mentality like we really want to win. Like, coming into last year, it was a bit different. Like, it was the first time, that concept. Obviously, Indigenous and Māoris have played before, but it was a difference with the All Stars. So we didn't really know what to expect. And then coming into this year, we knew what to expect, and we wanted to win just because last year we lost and it wasn't the best feeling. So we thought, we really want to win this game. We're going to do everything we can to win it.
I think coming into that that week of the training, I didn't know what to expect either, because the year before it felt like it was an exhibition match going through the week, and I remember the first gym session we did, it was just like you decided what gym you wanted to do yourself. It wasn't like we had a written program or anything. And I just remember walking into the gym and everyone was just going as hard as they could, and the trainings, everyone was literally doing their best. And I was like, holy, this is a serious week, this one. And it really got me when Blairy started talking about the week, and obviously it might be his last one, and how much passion he spoke about it. And I think it really kickstarted the week and made the boys want to be hungry to win this game. And he touched, when we were down in the last quarter, he touched on it as well, and he said we're not just playing for fun, we're playing for our people here. And I think that really resonated with a lot of us. And the way he played, that was probably the best game I've seen Blairy play in the last 3 years, and he was going mad, and I reckon he really led by example in that game, and really did it for our culture and stuff. So it was an awesome game to be a part of, and it was good because it was that sense that, the Māoris don't take this seriously, and the Indigenous are going to win. They always win. And look at their back line. Māoris got a terrible back line and stuff like that. And we got Latrell Mitchell and all them big names. And
Josh Adokar.
Josh Adokar, Latrell Mitchell, all the Jack White, and all these great players of the game. And at the start, it felt like we were already a little bit been like written off.
Yeah.
And going into a game that, you're being written off, there's no pressure, so you can just go out there and have fun. So I think that's exactly what we did.
Yeah, and I'll just add to it as well. I sort of sensed it straight away as soon as I got into camp with this. I think the first interaction I had with the boys, I was lucky enough to sit in a meeting where you were doing video. And I was lucky enough to play back in 2010 and to just see how far, the New Zealand Māoris come, and this game in particular, I would have been over the moon to have played at anything back in the day. We were lucky enough to play against England, which was all right, but to play against the Indigenous would have been unreal. And the attention to detail from the coaching staff, from Kitty, Benny Gardner going through your defence, the boys sitting around and talking about, what you're going to go through. Jahrome in particular, I was very impressed with, what you used to said. You could sort of see the Melbourne influence within the squad, and how you're all sort of on the same. It felt like you're all on the same page, even though the team had been together for a week.
Yeah. I think that's just from the boys wanting to win and buying in. I think, Kitty laid down the rules and what we want to do, and so did Blairy. And I think the whole team sort of bought in. Like we know we come from different teams, but for this 1 week, we just need a bond, buy in, do what's best for the team, and go out and win that game.
Yeah, and it obviously meant heaps to you, Cheese. You played the game with a fucking fractured cheekbone or something?
Yeah, I fractured my right cheekbone, but it was early. It was real early in the game too. It was like 2 minutes in, but I
You're off your head, you are.
Bro,
You're trying to play it down to me as well.
You can see exactly what when I did it, but like the whole game, I was like literally crying to everyone, saying get me off. Like my face is so sore. Like it's not like I was doing like the Sam Burgess tough guy thing. I was asking to come off. I was saying my face is fucked. Let me off the field, please. And they were like, "Oh, just how is it?" And then press on it, and I was like, "Bro, I can't feel anything. My whole right side of my face is numb." And they were like, "Oh, but just let us know how it goes." And I was like, "All right, sweet."
Yeah, I think when you crossed over for those 2 tries, they assumed that you were sweet.
Yeah. Must have felt good after those 2.
Yeah. I lost my train of thought then. Anyway, we'll mute that out. We'll get back to it. I think I'll think of it as we're going. But yeah, touching on the Melbourne influence in particular, have you noticed that within the squad and at Melbourne over the years? For me, I think I spoke to you boys about it. I think it's an underrated part of the dynasty. Obviously, the big 3 get a lot of the accolades and well-deserved because they've been big players for the club. But if you look back at the history, it sort of stood out because I was looking at Kitty being the coach, come through Melbourne. Stephen Kearney was also a coach and player there at one point. Then you've got the next gen that come through like Blairy and Sikamanu, Kiwis, but Tongan. And then you move forward, it's Kevy, Jesse, Kenny, and then sort of you're the latest sort of era of Kiwis to come through the Storm. Do you know if there's a thought into recruiting Kiwis to Melbourne, or have you guys noticed that the Kiwi culture within the Melbourne Storm?
I know there's definitely been a culture, like there's been a few Kiwis come through. I don't know if they do that on purpose or not, but there's definitely been like back from Talbot and Nico, up to
Brandon as well.
Now.
I think what it is to me, I think with Craig is, a lot of Kiwi players and like Pacific Islanders in particular are really like family based like people, and I think that's what Craig, like he is such a family based guy and tries to incorporate everything in the Storm to be like family related. So I think that's what drags a lot of people in, and what what makes a lot of players like myself like respect him so much is like his only care isn't like making you a better footy player and like making sure he gets wins. It's also making sure that everything off field with your family and is doing right and in the right place, and however way he can make you a better person off the field, that brings him just as much joy as making you a better player on the field. And I think a lot of Pacific Islanders really respect that, and it's almost like it's a father figure to you, and he's going to growl you if you're being naughty and stuff like that. And I've grown up all my life being growled when I'm being naughty, and
that's in our culture, isn't it? Islander culture, culture.
Being disciplined when I'm making mistakes. So I think that's what makes me respect him a lot more than just a coach that's just is just looking for performance-based accolades and stuff like that. So I think that's a little bit of a twist on it. So
yeah, I remember when I had that chat to him, Jerome. He said that there's a no dickheads policy at Melbourne, and I think that's sort of half what Cheese is saying there with family orientated players. That's maybe why he didn't sign me as well. So, but yeah, there's a bit of that there. No dickheads policy. Is that spoken about like initially with you, or is that continually drained into you?
Yeah, it's not so much spoken about. It's just sort of expected. So like, you go in, the players are going to pull you up on it before the coaches have to. Like it's just the way things are down here. Like you come down here and you act a fool, like act up a bit. One of the players is going to be the first people to pull you in line and say, mate, you can't be doing that here. You don't want to get caught out from coaches and that. And it just comes natural, I guess. Like it's spoken about a bit, but people just expect it from from the other players, expect it from other players, and the coaches expect it from the players too. So
you talk about that Melbourne influence. I think what helps us as well with the Māori camp and the Kiwis camp is, Michael Maguire came through the Storm system as well, and what he does is he puts a lot of ownership on us players, and I think that's suited to Melbourne because a lot of the ownership in our team is based all around the players. Like obviously we got Cameron, who's and probably knows more than any coach could know, and he pretty much runs this team as well as all us players do. And we got a leadership group, an emerging leadership group, and all that stuff that that is just. I think Jerome, you're in the emerging leaders.
Yeah.
They're just grooming up these emerging leaders to become leaders of the team and take ownership of the team and really run it. And like the coaches don't do too much. They just send you out some stuff and go, you guys do this, and you guys send out and tell the boys what you got to do. And I think Madge has done that, and Kitty started doing it in the Māoris group, and I think it's just a good coaching style that suits us Melbourne boys, and I think we really get involved with it with the Kiwis camp and the Māoris camp.
Geez, that's a perfect segue to roll into my next point there, Cheese, and we'll roll on the back of that. I've never heard that before, an emerging leadership. Is it like an emerging leadership group, is it?
Yeah, that's what it's called.
That's unreal. So, and that brings me to my next point with regards to used to in particular. You're pretty laid back dudes and you seem pretty relaxed and all that. But do you feel the pressure of, you start off with you first, Jerome, because initially at one point you were looking like filling Billy's shoes, and then you make the transition and then end up in the halves and have to cover Cooper. Fuck, he must have a high opinion of you there.
Man, I should have picked another position. Somewhere. Bloody immortal in there. Jesus.
Yeah. So yeah, what's that? Is there pressure towards that, mate? Do you feel like you have to play like those boys, or is it more do you have to lead like those boys? Tell me what that's like, sort of trying to half. Like I know you'd never be able to completely fill their shoes, but what's that like trying to step in there?
Yeah, it was a bit weird. Like last year, playing fullback and trying to fill Bill's shoes, I guess. The first thing that, I thought about it saying, mate, how am I going to do this? I'm not going to be better than Billy Slater. But first thing, first convo I had with Billy, he just said, mate, you don't need to fill anyone's shoes. Just play your own game. You're there for a reason. You don't need to be me. Just be Jahrome Hughes. So that was one of the first things that someone said to me there. I just went, mate, like that's exactly what I needed to hear.
It resonated.
Yeah. And then straight away, I talked to Craig through that preseason. He said the exact same thing. Like he's not looking at me to be a Billy Slater. So once sort of I heard those words, I sort of thought, that's what I need to do. I don't need to try to be like Billy. Like no one's going to be like Billy. He's one of the greatest fullbacks of all time.
Yep.
I'm not going to be like him. So just do the best I can in my ability. And obviously when before the first game of the year, you're a bit nervous, like there's a bit of pressure in the media or whatever saying like, how's he going to fill the shoes and blah, blah, blah. Once I got the cobwebs out and, played that first game and, went half decent, I thought, it's gone from there. But now they've changed position. There's another new sort of.
I was going to say it must just be easy then, eh? You got used to it all good.
I was just like
play 7 and cover Cooper now.
All again, and then so first thing, ring Cooper. What can I do? Like I just picked his brain straight away. He's the perfect dude. He sort of the way he started playing halfback. He wasn't a halfback either. So
yeah, I remember. He was like a hooker lock, wasn't he?
Yeah.
A bit like Cheese, sort of come off the bench room, did a bit of everything.
Yeah,
so I've got a bit of potential to become a halfback, do I?
Okay, 7 and 6.
Yeah, so I just pretty much picked his brain and said, like, how did you do it, mate? Like, obviously, it's probably a little bit easier for me. The fullback's sort of similar to the halves, where he come from, like lock, it was a bit different, and he just works hard. That guy, like, he just picked every little thing in his game that he could work on and just worked on it until he was the best at it.
Yeah, I think Kempy bloke on the bar brought up his stats a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
and just like the argument for the best halfback of all time, and I'm a big Joey fan, so I always held Joey so highly. But it's hard to argue against his stats, man.
Yeah. Mate, like he's not flashy or anything, Coops.
Nah, like he's not one of those guys that's sort of just like you've thought of like that. But you always known he's one of the top 5 for the last 10 years. But when you actually see the grand finals, see the Origin games, see all the you just go, wow, it's a pretty decent argument.
Yeah, he's got to be up there for sure, I reckon.
And what about you, Cheese? Being lucky enough to be in half lucky enough to be in a position where you not only get to learn from him at training, but also play with him on game day and rotate and get in the middle and play a bit of lock. Would hooker be your preferred position if once Smitty's all done?
Yeah, definitely be my preferred position, and I don't really feel the pressure at the moment, like because Jarome's actually playing the position that he's in, so I haven't really been in the media too much about pressure of filling the boots, and I don't plan to fill his boots either. I just plan to do exactly what Jarome said. I just plan to go in there and just play my best game. Like at the end of the day, what am I gonna lose if I go out there and just play to the best I can? And if people don't like it, people don't like it. There's no point in salting over that. But I'm all good.
Yeah, I think everyone else is all good with you too. Like everyone appreciates like the role you play coming off the bench because you're a pretty humble guy. But this is my opinion. You'd probably start in most of the teams. I compare Cameron Smith to Tom Brady a lot. Like he's sort of at that age where you think retirement's coming soon, but the way he plays every year, it's like it doesn't look like he's going to finish up anytime soon.
Yeah, and like I don't get salty about it. Like I get asked so many times, bro. Like, oh, don't you just want him to retire and stuff? It's like, well, he was runner-up Dally M last year. Why would I want him to retire? I play in the same team as him. I want to win games. Like I'm not upset he's still there.
Yeah.
And just constant questions get asked, and that's just the media, bro. They just try to break you.
Yeah.
One day I want to just say, oh, this old bastard's going to retire one day, please.
Yeah. You've said it on here, so we don't do that.
You're going to be all over social media tomorrow.
Yeah,
you're just gonna cut that little clip out and go, oh.
I'll tell you what, we need a few more viewers at the scope, so that'll be good.
They'll bring them in.
Yeah, so speaking about footy, rolling the footy, that's the bit that I forgot before with you, Cheese. You're talking about playing footy and getting back out there. There's a bit of a silver lining. We had Fozzie and Piercy in last week, and I was chatting to them, and it was a bit the same for Fozzie. One of your mates, I know you like going fishing with Fozzie. A bit of a silver lining. You get to come back, potentially when this all kicks off, you'll be back playing footy.
Yeah, well, I hope so. And it's good because it gives guys, that have been injured, like Matt Lodge, he gets to come back and play footy straight away, which is awesome for the competition. Everyone that got injured is able to be back and this has kind of been a relief for them. So for me, I can't wait to get out there. Like, I missed the first 2 games as well because of this bloody cheekbone.
I mean, yeah.
I've just been frothing at the bit ever since the Maldives game, and I'm looking forward to it, bro. Like, I can't wait.
Would you have been right to come back around 3 or 4, or were you
right at round 3? I was coming back.
Oh no! So it's not even really a silver lining for you because you would have been back. I thought this bought you an extra couple of weeks, but in a way, at least you get going into the game knowing your face is going to be 100. Really?
Yeah, exactly. I touched that on an interview recently. As I confidently can go into this game without any like apprehension that my face is going to be sore or anything like that. So, like I said, with all us injured boys, it's such a relief for us to be able to get out there and play some more footy games.
Yeah, 100. And with you, Jerome, you started the year pretty well. Good win for the Maldives. Had a nice hand in that try early for Dell. Got sent for 10 after that, but finished off the game well and got the win.
Yeah.
And then you go on. You had some really nice touches in that Manly game. Nice couple of behind for Vunivalu. Bit of a scrappy game against Cronulla, but 3-0 to start the year. You must have been pretty happy with your form.
Yeah, pretty happy, but also a lot to improve on. Like, I've been working pretty hard. Like, obviously, it's my first preseason in the number 7, so been working really hard. So it would have been good to keep the momentum going, but I guess a couple more weeks of extra training is not going to be bad either. So, I like Brandon and probably like the rest of the NRL boys. Like, I can't wait to get back, and hopefully it's sooner rather than later.
Yeah. Have you had any? So you said you're going to have a chat with Melbourne a little bit after this. Is that with regards to a potential, getting back out on the footy field, or is that just catching up on progress and what you've been doing with your training?
Yeah, that's just a catch up on recent events, and we interview a player. One of the boys interviews another one of the boys just for a laugh, and it's all fun and game.
Yeah.
Couple of beers.
Yeah,
just stuff like that. Couple of beers if you want.
Yeah, we spoke about, me and I spoke about it recently as well. We talked about how you boys are doing a good job on social media. In particular, you got Sandor. That Cooper John seems like he's a bit of a giggle. Hey?
Mate, he's like his dad, mate.
Did you see that? Did you see that video I posted the other day of him doing the Vanilla Ice impression?
No, I missed that one.
How he is so funny.
Yeah, mate, he's hilarious. Funny.
Yeah, you can see if obviously he's going to be looking towards a footy career, but post footy he's going to be right at home in his wheel like his old boy. He's
straight
funny
into his shoes, mate. Straight into his shoes. It's a cracker.
And I couldn't help but finish with a positive story about the cheese helping me out in Bali. Cheese. I spoke about this. I spoke about this on my on the podcast. I think it was my 3rd podcast with Bertie, and I told the people the story from my end. Basically, treated myself to too many tequila shots that night. The last thing I remember is being on the dance floor at Mexicola. And then maybe 12 hours later, waking up in your villa. Run us through what happened from your end, bro, like, and how you got me home.
Bro, I was just I was at Mexicola and I was pretty.
I think we had a shot together too.
I was pretty sober at the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just seen all this commotion going on outside, and I was out the front of Mexicola, like on the little balcony bit.
Yeah.
And I could just see. I saw you walk off too. I saw you walk out of Mexicola, and I was like, "Holy shit, he is blasted." But your eyes were like fucking pretty much closed, and I was like, "Oh, he's going home." Yeah. I don't blame him. Trying to backdoor it, and then I seen all this commotion like 2 minutes later, and I just seen you on the floor, and these Balinese dudes are just all around you, just like pretending to kick you and stuff. And I was like, oh shit! Fuck. And I like ran over and like spread my arms. I was like, "No, leave him alone, leave him alone, leave him alone." And then you couldn't talk, bro. I was like, "Oh, this guy's fuck." And then I was like, "Oh, sweet." I just chucked you on the back of the scooter.
Yeah.
And I was driving, and you just started spewing everywhere, bro.
Oh, bro.
And the Balinese dudes are like trying to like chase us and ask us for like money and that. And I ended up giving them like 30 Aussie dollars to like leave us alone because they were fucking following me back to the villa. And then I got to the villa and I was like, oh God, and I kind of just like carried you in and then put you in. I don't know whose bed you were in. I didn't even know if you were in our villa because we had like 3 villas, but we had two side by side and then another one a little bit further away. And I didn't know which one I put you in because all the beds were made and stuff. And I was like, I don't remember these being made. And and the rest was history. Bro, do you know what's funny? I still got one of the scooter keys and apparently it was yours or something.
Oh, no, I ended up figuring it out. You put, someone drove my scooter because I think you might have grabbed my scooter and drove me back on it to get me home.
Maybe.
Someone used another key to get into my scooter and drove it. And then obviously I still had my key, so I rock up to your villa and then my fucking scooter's gone because Sandor told me the scooter was there. So when I went to go pick it up, there's no scooter there. And one of the boys had gone up to the local cafe just around the corner.
Yeah, that's right.
And then trying to
big dazzle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bro, when I woke up in that villa, I remember I looked, there was no bags in there. I'm like, fuck, what's happened here? I got water next to me, a key, my wallet. I'm like, all right, sweet. I didn't have my phone though. And I handed in my phone at Mexicola that night to be charged. So I was like, oh, bro, I've lost my phone.
Yeah, bro, because I was like, I was the same. I was like, why is there no bags anywhere? Like, I'm sure I had bags and stuff. And then I put you to bed and then I stayed with you for like 5 minutes. And I was like, I'm not letting Justin Horro ruin my fucking body. So I took off back to Mexico.
Yeah.
All
right, bro. I appreciate you getting me home. Like you said, I think you paid 30 Oz for me. So beers are on me next time when we're able to have a few beers. And good note to finish on anyway, boys. Thanks for coming on the pod.
Cheers, bro.
Well, good, bro. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
Sweet, brothers.
Later.
See ya.